America.
Hello, everybody. I'm really appreciative that everybody's here, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm a history buff, always have been, and particularly history regarding the formation and the creation of this nation. And I try to visit places that are of historic significance. I've been on the USS Constitution. You know, I've been on the North Church, been at Paul Revere's house, been where Ben Franklin lived. And here I am, I'm finding myself in Rhode Island. And a few months ago I was up here, and a friend of mine, Larry B. Kraft, another attorney, and I hunted down Gaspee Point. And the reason that we hunted down Gaspee Point was that we wanted to stand there where it all began. A lot of people, you ask Americans, what do you think of Gaspee Point? And they say, what? And they don't know. That's where it began. That was the very first organized and concerted act of resistance to unjust and invalid and abusive taxation. That was where America found its hind legs and for the first time stood up and said, we're not going to talk about it anymore. We're going to do something about it. They burned the Gaspee to the water line.
Yeah. Yeah. That's free.
And then it came up. And where did it all start? You know, I got up here Friday, and this friend of mine I'm up here with, visiting, working with, said, I got an email in today. Look at this. And he showed me, and it was an announcement of this particular meeting. Now here's the history buff. I like to be where things used to happen, that happened way back, and where he brought us to where we are today. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, golly, what a great opportunity this is. I'm going, you know, I've got to go and be there for this thing because I know how it all started. It didn't start with a Gaspee, it started with a concept. And the Gaspee was the first step. But it started out with people just like you. And I'm going to get a chance, if I can be allowed to come to this meeting, and I appreciate the last minute invite. I'm going to get a chance to be in a tavern, not just in New England, but a tavern in Rhode Island with a bunch of patriots, not just sitting around carping about a tyrant, but they're prepared to stand up and do something to cast the tyrant off their backs. And I said, this isn't just going back to visit where history happened. This is going to see history and be living history. We are living history tonight. And this is wonderful. And I can't tell you how excited I am. And I've met most of you before this, you know, before getting up here this evening. And I'm just thrilled to be here with every one of you. Now, let me back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about what we're all about. And the fact is that we can stop just talking. It's time to stop talking and start telling. What we have is two enemies. Number one, we have an enemy in Washington, D.C., and New York City, and Chicago, Illinois, and Los Angeles, California, comprised of an unholy, incestuous marriage of big government and big business. And those of you who know your history know that what the word for that is fascism. You've got a Congress in Washington, D.C. that's supposed to represent you, but they're not. They're representing the Republican Party. They're representing the Democrat Party. That's the left leg and the right leg of the tyrant. I served one of those legs for 25 years thinking I was doing good. And whenever I got above the grassroots level, and I started realizing, I'm putting on stuff here. I'm talking to the White House 2-3 times a week. I was a political hack. You know, I'm sitting here meeting with Newt Gingrich, with Phil Gramm. I'm meeting with Alan Keyes, bless his heart. And these guys, I started saying, it's time now to start throwing some freedom back over the walls. We're winning. We're gaining ground. That's what I've been fighting for 25 years. And they shoved me aside, and all I wanted to know about was demographics and money. Crunching numbers and money. It's all about power. It isn't about principle. And as a chairman of my party, I walked. I run 11 races for them as chairman. Many races I'd worked before. 11 races for them as chairman. I won all 11 of them. And I thought I was advancing freedom. The only way to advance freedom is right here with the people, not with the parties. The parties are just two power clubs. We've got to start telling this. We've been talking, we've got to start telling. The other enemy that we have is the ignorance that our government has imposed upon our people. They've pulled the wool over the sheep's eyes, made them think that the role of government is to take care of them and make them free from responsibility. Well, I don't want to be free from responsibility. I want to be free from you. I want to be free from those guys there. I don't ever want to hear of the federal government. The only time the federal government's supposed to have anything to do with me is when I mail a letter. Read the Constitution. The guy had it out here just a minute ago. Yeah. Right. So what are we going to do? Well, Truth Attack was formed about a year and a half ago because when I found out that there was a tax honesty movement in the country, I was shocked to find out that it was fragmented. People who had all the same interest, all the same goal, and yet they're all pulling in 360 different degrees of direction, and they're all sitting there whining because they're not going anywhere. And I said, hey guys, you gotta line yourselves up. You've gotta be pulling in the same direction. You've gotta get behind a single message. You've got to start singing from the same page of the hymnal. Because right now you're doing nothing but a bunch of gibberish. They were fighting among themselves. Some of them were fighting each other harder than were the government. Anytime a movement starts, it takes two things, people and money. And anywhere you have people and money involved, you've got two things, other things involved, egos and greed. So now we've got a community within a community whose object is to make money off of the problem. If you're making money off the problem, if that's how you make your living, do you really want to get rid of the problem? So now what we have to do is sort out the men from the boys, the patriots from the patriots. And we've got to assemble, put ourselves together, and start pulling, whether it's good for us or not. I'm working to put myself out of business. Now, one of the problems that we're working on now with Truth Attack's object, if you go to truthattack.org, you'll see the subline under their subtitle is putting the government back in its box, one tentacle at a time. And when we first came out with that, somebody emailed me and said, Mr. Cryer, I just want to let you know, you guys misspelled testicle. Putting the government back in its box one tentacle at a time because it grew one tentacle at a time. You know, they built a wall between us and our freedom. And that wall went up one brick at a time. It didn't go up all overnight. It wasn't like the Berlin Wall, where in a matter of a few weeks it was there. This thing gradually was done on us. It was gradually imposed. They were starting to change us. They dumbed us down, they powered themselves up. So we've got to take it down one brick at a time. The freedom movement's comprised of an awful lot of people. You got folks that are wanting to know the truth about 9/11. Whatever happened, we want to know what the truth is. There ought to be an investigation. We ought to find out. Yeah. I'd love to know what the truth is of who shot JFK. I don't think I'll ever live that. But I haven't believed anything the government told me and taken it at face value since the Warren Report came out. Now, is that what a good thing, that you can't believe your own government, your public servants are going to lie to you? Would you allow the servants in your household, assuming that any of us could still have those things, would you allow them to lie to you? Would you allow them to steal your liquor?
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.